Welcome to AFL180, brought to you by Guru.com.au. It's been another massive week in footy. We've had the Lions have a massive upset victory over the Cats. We've had Stevie J rubbed out for a couple of weeks, even though he tried to get off. And, of course, we've had Captain Courageous Jobe Watson deepening the whole Essendon drug saga by going on TV and admitting to actually taking the drugs. So let's get going. I've got with me Vava. He's got a lot to add this week.
I do have a lot to add, starting with a bit of a dig at my fellow panelist Jono, who predicted last week it was going to be a shocking round of football. We had one of the greatest comebacks of all time, and we had Port getting over the top of Sydney. So let's start with a dig at Jono this week.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't very excited about it, was I?
No, you weren't.
I remember that now. I remember that.
Even the West Coast Hawthorn game turned out well.
The West Coast Hawthorn game was a ripper. The Power beating the Swans, that was a good game. You know, Cats, or the Lions come from behind against the Cats. So, buddy, the upsets, the Power and the Swans and the Lions and the Cats were the only two bets I missed out on, which I'm pretty annoyed about, actually.
I missed out on the Brisbane bet after the siren. I want my money back.
Yeah, I got knocked out of the knockout competition.
Oh, how many people got knocked out of that?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Because Sydney was the other big one as well. So
Yeah.
Sydney and Geelong were the two
There must be like
biggest bets.
2,000 people left.
Yeah, Sydney on the negative side, and Geelong on the negative side. Everyone got knocked out.
So I think my prediction of round 21 for the winner is looking quite strong.
Yeah.
It could be round 16 at this, this
Looking
stage.
very strong. So if you're still in that competition, you've done very well. You probably picked West Coast at the line plus.
No.
That was a great game on Friday night. Started everything off. The only game of the round that had more than 100 points scored for both teams.
Well, the West Coast look really
It's the
great.
First, it's the first time in 11 games or 12 games that Hawthorn's had more than 100, or maybe 18 games actually, that Hawthorn's had more than 100 points kicked against them.
West Coast look
Really?
great, and I'm kind of Hawthorn just answered the challenge, but they're going to be very dangerous if they make it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play either of the Perth teams in the first round of the finals, so that's all I can say.
Well, at least with West Coast, you know you're going to get some points scored. Ross Lyon's going to make it a 2-1 game.
Yeah,
And it looked like that for a while.
Yeah.
That North game.
that Northern, yeah, it
It
was
looked like a 1-0 result there for a while.
one goal to none at quarter time, and then
So the North kicked 4 goals for the entire game. Is that right?
Correct.
It's insane.
He is a genius
It's
coach.
a high-scoring team usually.
Yes. He's
So let's have a look at the results from the Betting Guru Top Punter competition. This is the competition where we're placing $10 on each game and seeing who's going to be right on top at the end of the season. Looks like Jono had another big week. He won the week. Bobba had a rough week. He's dropped back a bit, but it's getting really tight at the top. Jono's only $7 behind the Betting Guru.
yeah, after being $50 behind 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty happy with myself.
well, there's some big,
Blow my own
there's some
trumpet, but I'm pretty
big
impressed
odd
with
bets
myself.
this week, so I'm going to be the one to catch up.
Yeah, I did all right in the bye rounds where there's only 6 games to pick. But now that we're back into the 9 games, it's there's so many games this week that it could go either way.
Yeah. So this week's going to become really important to see who's going to win. So that's going to be at the end. We'll discuss what we are picking for next week. But yeah, it was great to have another good week.
Can we just point out the stupid bet of the round as
What was
well?
that?
Look, I mean,
I don't think it was such a bad bet.
Vova's Eagles head to head at $5. That look, I
They
mean,
weren't that far away.
They weren't that far away, but still.
I looked pretty good for a while.
Yeah, it really
But then again,
did.
the stupid bit of the round probably looks like all of us tipping the Cats and the Swans.
Correct. Correct.
And
Hindsight's a
would
wonderful thing.
Everybody would have. All right, so what we want to talk about this week, probably the biggest issue, it's been on every show, it's been talked about a lot already, but it's obviously the Jobe Watson admission. So this man is the son of Essendon great Tim Watson. He's the Brownlow medalist, the golden boy of the club. He's gone on the couch and during questioning came clean, confirming that he didn't know what he was taking, confirming that he was injected, and the fallout has been
Muted.
yes. So, well, Malthouse came out today saying he can't believe the AFL has done absolutely nothing. Watson is playing.
Well, not so much the AFL hasn't
Friday
done
night.
anything, as more they just
Thursday
haven't
night.
said anything. They haven't even come out and made a statement at all.
So Watson's free to play, playing against West Coast tonight, and no word at all. It's just incredible.
I guess I've got a slightly different take on this. They are now talking about taking away his Brownlow medal. I don't think he could give less of a crap. This is my opinion is this has got to be the stupidest award in all of football. I'll be happy if I won a Brownlow medal to hand it back. Why are the umpires deciding this?
I don't know. It is.
That is my take on this whole thing.
Tradition.
It's tradition. Well, it's the biggest award you can possibly
I will
get
give that award
in the
some
sport.
credence when a Carey or a Franklin or a non-midfielder wins it.
Well, yeah.
And Grant. Now let's talk about Watson.
And these days, players actually pay higher regard to winning the team best and fairest because they've actually done the job that the coach told them to do on the day. And it could be a defender keeping a key forward under 3 goals.
This is also the problem with the 3-2-1 system. You're recognising 3 players. If somebody was the 5th best in the whole team, he's done pretty well. Maybe should score something, but
This is true.
I'm
sorry to have dragged this away on this point.
Yes.
Jono, should Watson be suspended?
Look, I don't think you can suspend the individual player if there's been a systematic.
but so if Milne was with 8 other guys ready to go,
Allegedly.
does that mean they all get off? Has he only been? The parallel is interesting that Milne has also pleaded his innocence. Watson hasn't pleaded his innocence, by the way, but Milne hasn't played. Watson is playing today, even though he's admitted that he was taking these banned substances.
Here's the thing. What are the odds that Watson was the only Bomber player that took these substances? Like 0.
Yeah.
Every single one of them was injected.
Yeah.
Not every single one of them, but the point, and Damien Barrett brought this up on the Footy Show last night, is that Essendon are arguing the tiniest little legal loophole to try and get out of this, and they're going to take it to court. And the legal loophole is they're saying that yes, this was on the banned substance list, but the drug itself has no performance enhancing qualities. So they're trying to argue on the point that yes, we'll admit we took it. Yes, we admit it's on the banned.
Can you
substance
imagine the
list.
precedents that would be set
Yes.
if they won?
Exactly. You could not. I mean, you could have people coming up with various drugs.
I'll also say this: the AFL gets a lot of funding from the Australian government for signing up to the drugs code. They are putting 0 risk of that money. 0.
Yeah. The thing is, at the end of the day, if the club is found to have systematically breached the drug code, the AFL won't be the ones handing out the penalties.
True.
Asada or WADA will be the ones handing out the penalties, and
Will they do anything?
They will.
they'd have to. They cannot have a precedent set where you can go, well, yes, it was banned, but look, it doesn't necessarily have performance enhancing qualities about it. So you just open the door for every athlete to plead. Well, the doctor told me to do it, and
they're very, very strong about it. If you've taken it, even if you didn't know you were taking it, you're gone.
In any other sport in the world, if you're in athletics, if you're in cycling, whatever,
You're gone.
You're gone.
The thing is, we're already in round 13, right? And this happened before the start of the season.
Oh,
This could well come to a head come finals time.
It's a very tough one.
What would happen if Essendon makes the finals? They're
And then
on the
loses-
eve of
loses
playing
their points.
a semi-final, let's say. What
Richmond
happens
won't
then?
finish 9th.
There is no chance that report.
No, but they're not going to bring. They're not going to bring someone.
I think
from
they're
the
bringing
bottom
this at the end of
10
the.
in, are they?
But it's not up to. It's
Somebody's
not
gonna
up
get
to.
a free
It's
hit.
not up to the AFL. It's
They will
up
delay until they get their way, and this is all resolved after the season. They all get their 6-month suspension during pre-season training, where they go running around the oval by themselves, come back and win it next year. Don't worry, they'll find a way around it.
Yeah.
So drug punishments are a negotiation process. I reckon it's ridiculous. It's like the Melbourne tanking but not tanking negotiation process penalty. We'll give you a big fine and we won't take any draft picks off you because you suck bad enough as it is.
Just to finish it up, I think there's no way a player that has admitted to taking a banned substance and, can be playing the next week.
Agreed.
I think it's incredible.
No.
Agreed.
I think it's absolutely incredible. If this is one guy coming out by himself,
Ben Cousins,
he'd be gone.
Ben Cousins got suspended for 12 months for not admitting to taking a drug and not actually testing positive ever.
True.
But
So a player's admitted to taking a drug on the bad substance list and he's allowed to play.
But he wasn't a golden boy like Joe Watson, was he?
He's a Brownlow medalist.
Yeah. All right, so let's have a look at the tips for next week. There's our first 9 week,
First 9-game week in a month.
John is going to be happy about that. He hates the bye situation.
Well, there's so many good games this weekend.
Unlike last weekend where we had some shots.
On paper, they look no good.
Fair enough.
They worked out all right in the end, but on paper they look no good.
I like AFL football for this exact reason.
So let's have a look ahead. Obviously tonight we've got West Coast Essendon, which is shaping up to be a brilliant game, even though West Coast's got a couple of really big outs in the midfield, Scotty Selwood and Shuey.
Shannon Hearn's out with an ankle. Embly's out for his Vova. What do you think?
I was just about to get to it. What an
think?
Absolutely disgraceful decision. He should have got 5 weeks minimum. I don't care if it was low impact, high impact. It was cheap, disgusting impact. They should have a cheap, disgusting impact category so that retards like Embly can be done for 5 weeks minimum. He put the knees into a guy on the ground and then slammed his head into the turf. It's not even. It wasn't even in play. It was like 50 meters away from play.
But they've got rid of the in play now.
They're a bunch of morons.
It was intentional, which is 3 points, and they graded it body, which it obviously was, which is 1 point, and low impact. Now, how putting your entire body weight with both your knees into someone's chest can be considered low impact? It should have been medium at the worst, which is 3 weeks, which he reduces down to 2 with an early plea.
No, this needs to have
At
the
the
I am a
least.
disgusting cheap dog interpretation, right? And get 5 weeks at minimum.
Yeah, so
for
if
that
this
act.
was the old tribunal system, then for such a dirty act he would have.
And
the points system. And then Steve,
I may or may not have sent a very frustrated SMS to Jono halfway through when I saw that.
Was it worse than the jug chicken wing tackle?
Yes.
and this is the other thing. And then you've got guys like Jack Zeeble catching a ball that was a hand. If it was a marking contest, he wouldn't have got robbed out.
Got
but
4 weeks for a beautiful hit. How is that possible? Anyway, let's get to the match.
All right, so West Coast.
I've got to say, the inconsistency is the tribunal helped me with getting help the Hawks with getting Hodge off the other week. So look,
I know.
I can't be too mad at
Steve Johnson, who the tribunal is not a huge fan of.
Well, he's got a record. That's his problem.
Yeah, true.
All right.
If he didn't have a record, that would have been he would have got off, or 1 week reduced to none.
All right.
So tips for this game.
Yeah, I'm taking West Coast 1-39. I thought they played very well last week, and they really could have gotten up. The Hawthorn's just a very good team that was able to respond. Good run. I think they're going to get some good run from the likes of Brad Dalziel. And I'm taking West Coast 1-39.
Okay, Jono?
Yeah, I started with that being my bet, West Coast 1-39, and I switched it at the last minute, Essendon 1-39, just because of the Shannon Hearn, Scott Selwood, Andrew Embley being out, and then the late omission of Shuey as well. I just thought Essendon had too much midfield power.
I'm doing exactly the same, so I've got Essendon at 1-39. Now, on Friday night, there's another massive game, Sydney versus Carlton. Sydney coming off an embarrassing loss to Port Adelaide. And Carlton trying to find their feet at this end of the season, trying to cement themselves in the 8. Who's going to win this one?
I don't agree. I don't think it was an embarrassing loss. Port are not a bad team. This is not like they lost to the Saints or the Bulldogs or Melbourne. Greater Western Sydney. They're not a bad team. Still hard to go past.
We'll see what happens when they play Collingwood this week at home again.
Yeah. It's hard for me to go past Sydney anyway. Carlton's actually been in good form. I'm going to go Sydney 1-39. They'll have a bit of anger from the game last week.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same. Sydney 1-39. Goods out's a big out, but Mark Murphy out is a big out as well for Carlton. Chris Yarran gets a reprieve from the coach and gets a game again. But yeah, Sydney too strong up there, but I don't think it'll be a blowout.
Yeah, okay. I've got Sydney head-to-head. I think a team of that quality has to bounce back. The coach will have something to say, and I think it'll be very hard to go past them this week. Saturday, we've got Gold Coast at home to Adelaide. Adelaide hasn't been travelling that well. This has got to be a close one.
I think this is going to be a great game. First of all, we've got the two best midfielders in the competition going at it, in Ablett and Dangerfield. I was SMSing with Jono during the Adelaide-Richmond game. I love Dangerfield. That guy is an absolute gun. I'll take him with the Saints ahead of any other midfielder. Having said that, it's at the Gold Coast. It's hard for me to go past them. They seem to be playing well up there, and Adelaide just the loss of Tippett and Walker just kills them. Absolutely kills them. They got nobody to kick to up there. Unfortunately, either Dangerfield plays forward, nobody gets it to him, or Dangerfield plays in the midfield, and he's got nobody to kick it to.
You're not worried.
Gold Coast 1-39.
You're not worried about the Suns turning over a quarter of a team?
I can't say I am, because I'm not worried about Adelaide.
It's nothing too exciting except for Riscatelli.
Yeah. Tom Lynch is going to be a bit of a loss for them, but they're getting back Broughton, who's a good player.
Michael Hunt.
Yeah, I really like Hunt. Mav Well is not a bad player.
Can you repeat that, sir?
I really like Hunt.
Michael?
Yes, Michael. I'm going Gold Coast 1-39. That's my tip.
I'm taking Adelaide head-to-head with no confidence at all.
If you've got no confidence, I will go for Gold Coast head-to-head. And that should hopefully mean that I win that one. All right. We have.
So that's going to be a shaper for the weekend.
A few things, yeah. Then Port Adelaide Collingwood, which we mentioned earlier. Port Adelaide coming off the season's best win, possibly. Collingwood coming off the bye.
Well, I tipped Collingwood to miss the finals, which is going swimmingly at the moment. Although I've had a couple of pretty easy weeks. But they look to be getting a bit of their mojo back. Swan's starting to play some good football. Heath Shaw's giving them good rebound on defence. Pendlebury is just a gun.
Jolly's out, so they might not have as good service.
But Hudson, when he came in early in the season,
did well.
Brilliantly.
Yeah. I think they just got a bit too much run going at the moment. Harry O'Brien's playing really well. I'm going with Collingwood at the line of minus 22.5. I think they'll get up by more than that.
Boak is back as well. Big in for
brilliant player.
I'm taking Collingwood head-to-head. Never sure, especially this season, which Collingwood team's going to turn up for which game. This could be a Collingwood that gets into an arm wrestle, or it could be a Collingwood that wins by 70 points. But I don't know which way it's going to go, so I'm just taking Collingwood head-to-head.
I'm also going Collingwood head-to-head. I think they really need this one, and they'll be... due to the last game, I think they'll be wary of Port, so they won't go too easy.
Plus, Clark is getting into some good form as well, which is a big help for them.
They got their full midfield. They got Luke Ball back as well, so I think they're going to go strong. Now the next game, Geelong versus Fremantle. Another interesting one now, especially what's happened to Geelong last week. Who's going to win this one, and what have you picked?
I have been burnt by Fremantle 2 weeks in a row, badly. I could have been doing much better without
Fremantle, who have saved my ass 2 weeks in a row.
Ross Lyon has now burnt me for 3 years and 2 weeks. Having said that, I'm about to get burnt a third time. I'm taking Geelong 40 plus.
Wow.
Yes, I think Barlow is a big loss. Mundy out is still a big loss. Ross Lyon will try to shut it down. If this was anywhere else but Cardinia. At Cardinia Park, I would...
Shell Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. I hate this corporate naming of
stadium
bullshit.
It's Simmons Stadium now,
Simmons
Stadium. Yeah, they've had Skilled,
disgrace.
Shell and Simmons.
Just Geelong Stadium. If it was anywhere else, I'd tip 1-39, but I'm taking a bit of a chance here. Geelong 40 plus.
It's an interesting one. Barlow's out, who had an unbelievable game last week, so... It's a possibility, and I think you'll get some decent odds.
I'm hoping that they'll be very angry from the match last week. That's the other point.
Yeah, look, for me, this is possibly the game of the round. You've got the ultimate tactician in Ross Lyon going down, taking his team down to Geelong, where they've got such an amazing record. Steve Johnson out's a big loss, but I think Geelong will have too much firepower, but Ross Lyon gets his teams into arm wrestles. It doesn't matter where they play. You look at what they did against Sydney up there earlier in the season. I think Geelong so I'm taking them 1-39.
I'm not sure how much Geelong will win by, but I'm pretty sure they will win for the same reason as I think Sydney will win this week. They got hurt, and you don't want to piss off one of the Scott brothers if you want to play for
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that's right. So I think they'll win. I'm just taking them head to head. Now the next game, blockbuster Saturday night.
Blockbuster
at the
Saturday
MCG,
night. Yeah.
Melbourne versus the Bulldogs.
This could be an absolute epic. I really think this could be a good game. Having said that,
Why?
I'll tell you why. At some point, Melbourne is going to put it somewhat together, right? And I will watch that game with so much interest. I would rather Melbourne win than St Kilda win. This is how bad it's getting. I would rather Melbourne than the Saints win. Having said that, I hope it's a good game. I still think the Bulldogs will pump them. I'm taking Bulldogs at the line of -30.5 points.
Okay.
Taking Bulldogs head to head, I think they'll win. No idea once again by how much. Melbourne. Who knows what they're going to produce under Neil Craig? They were relatively competitive against St Kilda last week. So can they do it again against a young Bulldogs team? I think they can. Take Bulldogs head to head.
Doing everything, John, asking the questions and answering them.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He should have his own show.
I agree with you, though.
The Jono and Jono
show. I'll also take the Western Bulldogs head to head. I think Melbourne's got a lot of improvement to do, and the Bulldogs are fairly solid. At least they got a solid midfield who rack it up and will give good service to the forwards. Who they've got a couple of young guys down there who are improving.
Yeah.
Now, go to Sunday. We've got Hawthorn versus the Brisbane Lions. Will the Brisbane Lions pull off two incredible upsets in 2 weeks?
I gotta say, as I said before, Brisbane lost it to me after the siren. It was such a hard game to watch because I really wanted Brisbane to win, but I really wanted to win my bet. And it was just the fact that it was McGrath's 200th game made me sway over to I hope that they win, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I think they're about to get pulled back into reality this week, though. Hawthorn are just class team. I can't believe how well they're doing. With Franklin not really playing that well, and Ruffy's an absolute gun.
You say that, but he's playing a different role. There was a stat that came out in the last 5 weeks. He's averaging 9 score assists per game. That's 45 score involvements on top of the goals.
Problem is when you're in the Hawthorn forward line, every time you pass it to someone, it's a score assist.
Correct. It's kind of hard. He gives it to Bruce, he gives it to Roughhead, he gives it to any one of the brilliant runners.
Their efficiency in the forward line last week against West Coast was amazing.
Yeah, a lot to do with West Coast things as well. But anyway, I'm taking Hawthorn at the line of -45.5.
Okay.
Right. I just got to mention Will Langford getting his first game for the Hawks, son of a Hawthorn champion. It's an extended bench at this stage, and Brendan Whitecross coming back from a knee. Look, some big outs for Hawthorn: Birchall, Bailey, and Guerra. You'd prefer to have those three playing than not, but I just think they'll be too strong for Brisbane. I'm taking, especially down in Tassie. I'm going to take Hawthorn 40+.
Whew. Big one, considering Lions have a settled team, not a single out from last week's heroics. I'll take Hawthorn as well, but I'll just take them head to head.
Soft.
Yeah, the odds won't be huge, but I'm a bit afraid of the Lions.
I gotta say, after the first couple of weeks, the betting guru has really gone soft.
He has.
Well, the betting guru has been comfortably winning this whole competition.
Not anymore.
The betting guru has had a couple of $1.05, $1.04 bets. It was very.
Hey, if I took Cats head to head last week, I would have lost.
True.
Now, so Hawthorn head to head, I think that will do for me. Now, the last game, Kangaroos versus Giants. This is the one second last game, I'm sorry. This is the one for the round that probably everyone will agree the Kangaroos will win, but you never know.
If Kangaroos lose this one, I reckon they'll burn the place down.
Well, the good thing about the Kangaroos is they love to beat up on crappy teams. Love it. They feast on the bottom of the competition, like they did to the Saints.
Yeah. Jordan Gisbert's coming in. Has he played yet for the North?
No, this is his first game.
He may not play again.
Look, it took the North half a year to train Melbourne out of him. He's going to come on and be a brilliant player going forward. So I wouldn't worry about Jordan. Jordan's going to get his mojo
how to kick
on.
A ball.
Correct.
What a handball was.
He came in, was playing soccer. It was brutal.
Yeah, but he's doing a great cross for the corners.
Anyway, I'm taking North at the line of -79.5. They will demolish GWS. Demolish with a capital D, like the Demons.
Jack Zeeble returns from his suspension again.
Jack Zeeble returns from being Jack Zeeble. Seriously, he's such a good player. Why can't the AFL just let him play football for a while?
Yeah. I'm taking Kangaroos 40 plus. I've got no trust in what the Kangaroos can deliver up on a week-to-week basis.
It feels like you're copying me, even though I'm going after you, because I've also got North Melbourne 40 plus.
So this week I'm either going to be way behind both of you, or way in front.
Possibly, yeah.
Unless some of these games cross over. But, yeah. Santa Help Me is coming back in for the Giants as well, by the way. Sorry, have I pronounced that wrong?
As close as you're going to get.
Alright, last game. Is that true?
Yes.
Last game, Richmond versus St Kilda at the MCG, Sunday Arvo. What do you reckon?
I think
Big Ivan Marriage is out.
Well, the only team that have had worse success picking than Freo is probably the Saints. I've tipped shockingly every time I do something, they do the opposite. So I'm hoping they absolutely pump Richmond, which is why I'm going for Richmond 40 plus.
Is this the reverse psychology?
Correct.
He's hoping that.
If Richmond win by 39 points, I'm going to just lose my crap. Seriously, it would just be brutal.
I'm taking Richmond head to head.
You're both so soft.
This is ridiculous.
He's done it again. He's head to head. What the hell is wrong with both of you? They're going to smash the Saints. And this is despite the fact that we try very hard.
Well, they possibly will, but it's at the MCG.
They're
the
both
weather
Melbourne teams, Melbourne rivals.
could be weather problems. Who
close.
knows? The Big O hasn't played much.
Who's the big O? Oren Stephenson?
Oren Stephenson, yeah. you've got the Big O and you've got Biscuit, Matthew Arnott coming in.
I don't know if you get to have a special name like that unless you're in, at least in the top 10 players in the...
I don't know, like Arnott is just lends itself to Biscuit.
But the Big O.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's a big fella and his name starts with O.
The other one that's a big O is, I think, Oscar Robertson from the NBA, and I'm not quite sure they're in the same league right there.
Yeah.
Alright, so both of you are soft on taking Richmond head to head, I
Correct.
understand.
Now, look, you can have a go at us, but the last few weeks, who's made progress on the betting guru in the front, and who's fallen further behind?
Yeah.
Boys, let's just take
one big week and
all of this can change.
So thank you, gentlemen. It's been good. Good luck with your tips, and we'll see you next week.